Hello everyone, hope you're doing good today. I'm going to show you my method of setting up Windows 11 on new computers. This will also work on computers that you're doing a fresh install on that are even on unsupported hardware. This is simply a base install of Windows 11 that you can start from, and then from that point, do whatever you want. Okay, so here we are in Windows 11, but we're going to be installing Windows 11 on a virtual machine. But before we do installer for Windows 11, so to do that, first thing that we need to do is download the ISO from Microsoft. From this web page, and I'll have a link to this down in the description below. We're going to scroll down to the very bottom where it says Downloads Windows 11. Disk image, and for select download, there's only one selection. It's Windows 11, and then push the download button. It's going to go through and validate your request here. Then select your language. I'm going to pick English United States. Click confirm. It's going to go through and validation process again. And then from that point, you're just going to push 64-bit download right here, and it's just going to take a minute for this to download. I already have this downloaded, so we can move on to the next thing. So, for that, we're going to go over to Rufus, and this is going to allow you to create a USB thumb drive out of that ISO that we just downloaded. I typically recommend using the portable version, but you can install it if you want, but I'm going to download the portable version in this video right here. And it should download pretty quick. And then once it's done, we can go ahead and close our browser right here and open up our downloads folder where everything we just downloaded should be. And then once we get into here, we're going to go ahead and launch Rufus itself. And then for Rufus, you're obviously going to need a USB drive. Now, make sure you pick a USB drive that doesn't have important data on it, because it's all going to be wipeout once you create your USB install for Windows 11. Because Rufus will erase the USB drive and then put all the install files onto it. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and plug our USB drive in. It should populate in the top right here once it detects it, and then go ahead and push select to select your image itself. We're going to go ahead and pick this one right here, hit open. You can leave all these settings default if you're installing this onto a modern system. However, if you're installing this onto an older computer that uses an MBR file system, then you can change this to MBR. However, then it won't boot from UEFI. So for that, what can you do? Hit the buttons Alt plus E, and that turns it into a dual UEFI BIOS mode. And it'll allow you to create a USB that will boot from both UEFI and MBR. So you can go either way, however. If you don't need MBR, then I would hit Alt plus E to turn that. Fan, just make it straight GPT, and then from there, once you're ready, go ahead and push the start button, and this will bring up the Windows user experience options within Rufus. And this will allow you to change a lot of the ways that you install Windows 11. Like for one, it'll allow you to bypass the hardware requirements as well as the Microsoft account requirements. It'll also allow you. Go ahead and hit OK, and at this point, go ahead and hit OK again. And it should go ahead and create the USB drive for you. It's going to take a while to create this, so go ahead and let it finish up and we can move on to the next step. Okay, now that is done, we can go ahead and close this, and then you can take USB drive, plug into whatever computer that you want to install Windows 11 on. And then we can move on to the next step. However, I'm not going to be using a USB drive. To install Windows 11, I'm going to be doing is installing it into a virtual machine, just to make it a little easier for me to make video on it. We're going to power up a virtual machine right here. I got to go ahead and hit any key to continue. It's going to take a second for the installer to start. Okay, so the first change that we're going to make right here, and this is kind of an old trick, but it's one that works well. If you change your time and currency format from English United States or whatever country you happen to be in, to English World. Then you go ahead and hit Next. What it will do is it will install a lot less junk within Windows. Once we get Windows loaded up, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can pick any version you want, and then go ahead and hit Next. Hit Accept the agreement. And then at this point, we were going to create a partition. Just hit create partition there and click apply. And this will create the default partitions for Windows. Now, you can just highlight the unallocated space and hit next. I'm going to go ahead and format the primary partition, which is going to be the large partition of the ones that are auto-created. Then select that and hit next. And the last thing to do before we get to the next step is just disconnect the Ethernet cable if connected. This will be important later. And at this point, go ahead and install Windows. So it's going to take a minute for setup to do its thing. I'm going to go ahead and jump a little ahead and I'll meet you back Windows once we get to the next step. Okay, so this right here, you're going to get this error right here. This is side effect of selecting English World as your currency earlier. So go ahead and hit skip in this point. Go ahead and select all your normal setting the way that want them. I'm going to go ahead and leave that default. I'm going to skip the keyboard layouts. And at this point, it's going to you an error saying that you don't have any network. Of course you don't, because you disconnected the Ethernet cable like I told you earlier. Now what we're going to do is hit Shift plus F10, and this will open up CMD window, and then from here go ahead and type in start ms-cxh: local only, and hit enter. And by doing this, what it does is it skipped the entire Microsoft account creation process. So I'm going to go ahead and write ITGUI for the user account. You can enter a password if you want. I'm not going to here, and then go ahead and hit next. And at this point, it should finish setting up Windows. And once you do that, you can reconnect. Network cable at this point. And then go ahead, select your privacy settings. I normally say no to all these right here, and click accept. At this point, it should be in the Windows. So now that I have Windows set up, it's time to go through and tweak the install a little bit. So the first thing that we're going to do is change the currency setting. Open up settings, go into time and language, then go into language and region, and then from here. You can see the country or region right here where it's selected world, and we're going to go ahead and set this back to English, United States. Go ahead and close. So now, I'm going to go to install an alternative browser, and I'm going to install Brave. So to do that, just go ahead and hit your start button and type CMD, and go ahead run CMD as an administrator. And then this point, you're going to type in, depending on what browser you want to install. I'm typing Winget, install space, --ID, then the equal sign. And then Brave. .brave. And then hit enter. And it'll go ahead and find Brave and install it for you. And it might take a second. You need to hit yes to agree to the user agreement, and it will go ahead and download and install Brave. Now it will take a second to do this. So I will skip ahead to where it's done. So what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you that it's possible to install a browser without opening Edge. So now that we have that installed, we can also use Winget to update all our applications as well. So to do that, just go ahead and hit your start button and type CMD, and go ahead and run CMD as an administrator. You just type Winget space upgrade space dash dash all dash dash include dash unknown. And then hit enter, and it'll go through and look for all applications that you have installed the system and upgradeth them. So as you can see, we're upgrading our app installer, Microsoft Virtual C++, and Windows Terminal application. What Winget? will do is it'll go through and it'll upgrade all the applications that it has ability to upgrade. Once it finishes up, we'll move on to the next step. So, now that those upgraded, we can go ahead and close command prompt. And the next step is to look through all your apps and just get rid of everything you don't want. It's like, I don't want copilots, so go through the list and uninstall all the apps that we don't want. It's like Microsoft 365. I typically uninstall that. Microsoft. News. I uninstall that as well, Clipchamp. I usually uninstall that one also, and then just go ahead and check whatever you don't want to have on the system. And once you're done, you can close the start menu. So, at this point, you should have a base installation of Windows 11. This is not fully debloated, and there are lots of settings you can still change that would make it even better than it already is. Basically, what we have here at this point is a base installation that is compatible as possible. This is the way that I set up new Windows OS for my customers. And that's it. If this helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more tech tips. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.